that time. Let's get it. Lissha, MzToni. start tagging these niggas, man. Whole lot of mob shit. Motherfucking president, nigga. Y'all better listen to me. Let's get it.
Cream man, 30 on me, big bag, dirty on me. Yo ho, working on me. My niggas working, homie. Hit his ass, laser tag, 50 round drum, 100 round drum. Mop him up when the time comes. Mask on, mask off. Big dog, big boss. You broke your loss. Like a tag a nigga, yeah ho. Cream man doing numbers. I got hitters, I got runners. We gon' tag them by them commas. Yeah.
30 days straight, I've been trapping. Look what happened. Bitch, I'm acting. I know about your baby mama, she get nasty. Gotta tell them to chill. Younger with me, why that action? I be in the dungeon with dragons, hot boy shit. Demons and ashes, say the baby shit. Dope boy magic. You smell the gas through the plastic. Smoking on runs, I'm trying to stuff every gram in the blunt. Asking, this ain't what you want. That laser gon' make a bitch nigga freeze. He hit my line on a Wednesday, saying to play up for Thursday. He coming back on a Friday, asking why I didn't serve him. Boy, that little money ain't worth it. Me and you was the fee and the purpose. The president, meaning I'm the plug. You lucky to see me in person, bitch. Hey, had to put the campaign on furlough. You know they be working shit. Ain't come for no problem, but shut up your partner. My youngin' be murking shit. Yeah, I taught him how to go get a bag, flip the shit and make it flip again. Talking about she can do better than me. I tell that bitch, handle your business then. I'm a business and a businessman. I'm the reason why you say your baby daddy got a brand new dental plan. All the knocked out the middleman. Mud money, what I represent. Cause we got it out the mud, nigga. 10, 17 mile with us. Face shaking, I don't fuck with you. 30 days I was quarantined in the trap setting up plays, nigga. Glizzy louder than some barber clippers. I ain't gonna shoot the fade with you. Fujiana got smoke, I'ma make a call, send a couple grave diggers. He got WAP on the line telling me to chill, but they shouldn't have played with us. On God. 30 days straight, I've been trapping. Look what happened. Bitch, I'm at it. I know about your baby mama, she get nasty. Gotta tell them to chill. The younger with me, by that action. I be in the dungeon with dragons, hot boy shit. Demons and ashes, lady baby shit, dope boy magic. You smell the gas through the plastic. Smoking on runs, I'm trying to stuff every gram in the blood. Asking, this ain't what you want. That laser gon' make a bitch nigga freeze.
I grew up thuggin', muggin' on the block, pussy with them same niggas. Wreck round women every day, he got a big pistol, wig splitter. Pussy nigga on the net said he a real killer. Nigga, bitch. Seen his ass in person, nigga did the real thriller. Pussy nigga. I been round there, well, by myself serving with a Drake. 10, 17, ice on me, try to take a shoot you in the face. Yeah, get him gone, bags in, bags out, chop. Really hit my phone, say he got a country boy, I need to come tag. Yeah, I hit the road, AMG S550, hit the gas. Pull up, so the nigga grab, yeah, hit the gas, he was mad. But I don't really give a fuck, I'm with the mob and pussy nigga on the boss. Ho, one call, I call Cream, he gon' come through and knock a nigga off. Jill told me don't do it, but I gotta get to a nigga raw. Ho, all the mud moving slow, yeah, real slow, nigga like a slow bitch. Pussy nigga try to diss me, can't diss me, boy it's soft. Wop said don't play with nobody, fool, you better kill them all. Ho,
30 days straight, I've been trapping. Look what happened. Bitch, I'm at it. I know about your baby mama, she get nasty. Gotta tell them to chill. The younger with me, by that action. I be in the dungeon with dragons, hot boy shit. Demons and ashes, lady baby shit, dope boy magic. You smell the gas through the plastic. Smoking on runs, I'm trying to stuff every gram in the blood. Asking, this ain't what you want. That laser gon' make a bitch nigga freeze. Tagging.
This is Fide, the producer.
If it's for me, I know that you gon' need another when the sheets get soaked. Told you that I got it. You gon' need some more. 'Cause I'ma love you proper, girl. All night when you're breathing close, I gotta love you harder. We won't need no phones. Told you that I got it, love. Look how deep I dove. Sipping on the sunny, yeah. All night, yeah. We don't need no clothes, 'cause we ain't about to kick. If you had me before, you know it now, I give it back. When the beat comes on, I touch it and I kiss it. I'm about to tease your soul, and girl, I'm going all night. Breathing slow, but I'ma set the tempo. Couple minutes, I'm inside it, got you feeling like a winner, babe. Going easy, whoa. As for me, I know that you gon' need another when the sheets get soaked. Told you that I got it. You gon' need some more. 'Cause I'ma love you forever, girl. All night when you're breathing slow. I gotta love you harder. We won't need no phones. Told you that I got it, love. How deep I dove. Sipping your decided, yeah. All night, yeah.
Walk in the Spirit, and you will not give way to the desires of the flesh. Can I come in?
From executive producer T.D. Jakes.
Tomorrow you marry the man that you love.
It's gonna take us to the next level, right?
The first chapter in the 7 Deadly Sins story.
Do not believe a word that this man is telling.
You watch out for the devil, because he will be on the hunt. So when's the big day?
Been thinking about you.
So is God punishing me? Sometimes I think we got together for the wrong reasons.
An all-new Lifetime original movie.
I am about to screw everything up.
Tobias Truvillion, Carrie Hilson, Darrell Tank Babs. Lost, a 7 Deadly Sins story. Premieres Saturday, April 10th. Only on Lifetime.
Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit.
April 17th.
I can't believe I have a sister.
Me neither.
From executive producer T.D. Jakes.
I don't trust her. I know I may have just met her, but she's my sister.
An all-new chapter in the 7 Deadly Sins story.
Y'all must be rolling in it.
Envy.
I found her in your closet, trying on her clothes.
What? She wants to be you.
Go and take what's mine. Get a taste of that hot life.
Soraya. Candy Burris. Rose Rollins.
Oh, baby girl, if you want, you can call me mommy.
When you envy your sister,
My 2 beautiful daughters.
be careful what you pray for.
I am your wife. How could you? Open this door.
Amen, somebody. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody. Come on, somebody.
Envy, a 7 Deadly Sins story. Premieres Saturday, April 17th. Only on Lifetime.
Woo! That was all good.
Yes, y'all. Yes. Have y'all? I know y'all watched it. If not, it's on demand. And if you don't have cable, get you some Sling TV. You can watch it.
Find a way, right, Lissha?
Find a way. Yes. Welcome to the chat room, y'all. My name is Lissha. You know, I got my right hand, and most of the time, she is my left. The fabulous MzToni. Hey, T.
Hey, Lissha, girl, how you doing this evening? I'm so excited for tonight's show. You know, we always love when Victoria visits us.
We do.
It's the red carpet is out, girl.
Absolutely. So open us on up, T.
Absolutely. Once again, welcome to Let's Chat Live. I'm Tony. I got the one and only over there. Y'all saw that preview? Didn't she do her thing? Lust and Envy, y'all. Miss Lissha. For those that are joining us for the very first time, welcome. You know, Lissha and I just started off our grassroots over on the radio. So we have established a great following, great support, and we so appreciate everyone. We started off celebrating literature, but we have evolved into so much more than just literature. We celebrate all the arts, and tonight is another perfect example of those wonderful arts that we feel are just dope and needs to be celebrated. So get back, get yourself situated, because we're about to have a great show with the one and only Victoria Christopher Murray.
Absolutely. And don't forget, y'all, follow us on Clubhouse. Y'all got us on Clubhouse?
Mm-hmm.
Follow us on Clubhouse. We have now Let's Chat Live, the Clubhouse version, and it's our Clubhouse edition, and we're talking about pen styles. So listen, we're going to be talking about just different forms and different things that have to do with writing and readers. We'll eventually expand it out to other conversations. But for now, because there are a lot of authors on Clubhouse, we want to be able to give them that exposure. That's what we love to do. So June 24th, we're going to be talking about the essence of an author's pen, as a reader, because we started off as readers. When you're experiencing that author, when you're experiencing their work, you're ultimately experiencing the essence of their pen. You're experiencing their soul. And so we're going to talk about it. We're going to have a few guests on. We're going to not call them guests. We're going to call them moderators now on Clubhouse. So, moderator on Clubhouse. Make sure you're following us. And if you would like to be on one of our Clubhouse edition shows, just send your request to the Chat Radio Show at gmail.com.
And also, make sure you guys vote for your ladies of Let's Chat. The countdown is coming. We are nominated for 2 awards on Ebony TV. One is Best Podcast of the Year and Best TV Show of the Year. Voting ends on Friday or Saturday. So make sure you get your votes in. You can vote multiple times. Lissha and I are so excited. We got to start working on our acceptance speech.
Yes.
So make sure you vote for the ladies of Let's Chat over on Ebony TV.
And there's no limit. You can vote as much as you want. Now, between us, we got 15,000 subscribe, followers. Like 5 here, 7 here, 2 here. Like we want to win.
We do. It's such an honor, Lissha. We didn't even know we were even nominated until
I did not know. No, I got a text.
A text is so
He texted me. Yeah, he sent me a text, and I was like, "Wow, okay, that's exciting." Y'all know, no grass grows under our feet over here. We are always doing something.
Always. And we appreciate all the support that we have got from all of our listeners, spreading the word, our followers. So thank you guys so very much.
Absolutely. And we're going to just stop talking because we got the queen up in the building, the fabulous Victoria Christopher Murray.
You said the queen, and I'm looking to see.
Okay, we need you to move a smidge over. Yep, right there.
There you
we
go.
can get you in the frame. Yes, you are the queen, honey. We appreciate you. First of all, we want to say we are proud of you.
Yes.
Oh, thank you.
And we want to say we appreciate you. You always support us. You always encourage us. And we want to thank you for that because you don't have to, and we appreciate it.
Oh, yeah, I do have to because you always support me. So don't support people so I do have to. So I thank you, and I thank you for having me here.
You are very welcome.
We are so excited. Okay, so we're going to jump in it. Now, for those who don't know Victoria Christopher Murray, because a lot of people have been introduced to your books and your pen via Lifetime with Lust and Envy. Tell everybody a little bit about your literary journey and your work.
Well, I'm an overnight success. It only took about 22 years. I've been writing about 22 years now, writing full time. I have over 30 novels.
Wow.
My very first novel was Temptation. And I self-published that back in 1997. I mean, we're talking about a whole different millennium, when I first started writing. But I've been with Simon & Schuster since 2000, and I've been writing for a major publisher for 21 years. I can't believe it. It's been this long.
Wow.
And people ask me sometimes what genre I write in, and I have a new book coming out this summer, and we just had a review. I just got a review from, I can't remember if it's Booklist or one of them, but that was one of the best compliments I've ever received from someone in the industry who described me as a remarkably versatile author. saying that I don't write in any one genre. And when I was teaching writing workshops, I used to tell people would ask all the time what genre was I writing in, and I don't write in any genre. I just write. I write what comes out of my heart at any given time. So 30 books. Some people say some of my books are Christian fiction. Some people say some of my books are suspense, like Stand Your Ground. Then I'm writing a 7 Deadly Sins series. And if you watch both movies, even in both movies, you can see how different they were. You know, Lust was a contemporary kind of lustful love story, but then Envy had a lot of suspense. You never knew what Keisha was going to do next. So I just write. I write what's in my heart on any given day.
Absolutely. Now, tell us the backstory. How did the series come into play?
Okay, so I decided to write. You're talking about the 7 Deadly Sins?
Yes, ma'am.
In 2014, Vicky Stringer, remember her? She used to write novels with Triple Crown. She contacted me and she wanted us to do some books together. And she said, let's do the 7 Deadly Sins. And so we said, okay. So we were going to start with Lust. But I'm telling you, like a week after we decided to do it, Vicky said, you know what, I need to take a break from writing. I need to take a break from publishing. And I was like, okay, because we really hadn't started. And she said, but you know what, you should go ahead and do it. Because it's perfect for you, perfect for your brand. So I said, okay. And I didn't do anything with it. I had been working on the book actually with Candy Jackson, another author. And so we kept working on Lust for a little while, and then we put it aside. We didn't do anything. We had written half of it, and then we put it aside. And then I wrote a book called Stand Your Ground. And that book won every award you could think of. I got so much acclaim for that book. And after I wrote that book, I had a hard time writing because it kind of felt like, where do I go from here? I thought that people would read my next book that came out after Stand Your Ground and then say, Victoria, you need to go get a job. It is over. She needs to go get a job. And I was intimidated by the success of Stand Your Ground. And for the first time, Stand Your Ground came out in 2015. For the first time in 2016, I didn't have a book. For the first time in 20 years, I didn't have a book because I was having a hard time writing. And my agent said to me, first of all, you need to write because you don't get paid until you write.
Right.
And then she told me that I needed to write something so different than Stand Your Ground that nobody would even compare the two. And that's when I said, let me go back to the 7 Deadly Sins. Let me go back to Lust. And I wasn't really sure if I was going to write the whole series. So that's how I decided to go back and write Lust. And what was so interesting about that was before Lust even hit the shelves, it was optioned to become this movie.
Wow.
Yes.
Lifetime Sean Robinson came to me and she said, are you going to write the whole series? She had read Lust because of someone at Essence, Patrick Bass at Essence, the book editor, told her about the book. And she said, are you going to write? She said, I'm going to go out and sell this for a movie. She said, but I can't tell them about the 7 Deadly Sins if you only got one. And
so that was a push.
And I talked about envy. She came up with the idea of somebody being envious of someone who is on Instagram and things like that. So by the time we approached Lifetime and TD Jakes, I had 2 of them. And then Lifetime said, we'll do the deal for all 7 if you write a 3rd one. And so I had to write Greed faster than I've written any book. And so that's how it came to be.
Wow. Now, Victoria, you say that you don't write in one, you're not pigeonholed into one specific genre. Now, with that being said, when you write your books, or even with this series, do your characters dictate the type of genre or just a taste of a genre? Like you said, Lust had one flavor, and we has another flavor. Do your characters kind of dictate the genre that you're going to write into?
My characters dictate the story. By the end of the story, I can't even tell you what genre I'm in.
Really?
Yeah, I was talking to my agent the other day, and she was like, "Do you have?" I forgot how she put it, but she said, "Do you have like a formula?" That's not the word she used, but do you have a formula that you write to, a formula that we could go to? And I was like, "I don't have no formula." She said, "I don't think you do either." And she said, because a lot of times an author will fall back on their formula when they just want to get a book done quickly. I don't have one. I just write stories. So my characters dictate the stories. And the reason I say I don't even know the genre sometimes is the number of people who told me that Stand Your Ground was suspenseful. I was like, really? It is? I didn't know that. So I just write. I really just write what's in my heart. And so people think I'm versatile, and it's not that. It's just that I don't pay attention. I've never, when I came into this industry, I didn't say I was going to be a Christian fiction writer or a romance writer. I didn't really understand genres enough to do something like that. I'm glad I didn't.
But I think that is a testament to the authenticity of your work. Is particularly you, and I think it's also the beauty that you can write.
That's right.
What you write, and your readers come to love and appreciate that, because we never know what we're going to pick up when we pick up a VCM book.
That's right.
So the fact that I'm writing a historical fiction this summer, people like, oh, okay, that makes sense. It's Victoria. That make a lot of sense.
Exactly.
I had nobody saying, because at one point, since historical fiction is so different from anything else I was writing, at one point, one of the salespeople at the publisher was saying, well, do we need to change her name? Should she just write under Victoria Christopher? My agent said, no. People going to be like, oh, that's okay. That makes sense. It's something new.
Whatever she writes, we'll buy.
Genre, it don't matter. If I write science fiction, people say, oh, that makes sense.
Victoria.
But this is the thing, we call those hardcore readers. And when you have readers, it don't matter if you wrote on the back of a paper sack or a potato bag and you only wrote 2 words. We gonna call each other, girl, did you read that? She put a P and an S. Yes, she did. And we all excited.
We're like, let me go one click.
Yeah, we going to one click it. It could be 99 cents. It could be $2. It doesn't matter. We're going to get it.
Yeah, and I think some of my readers in the beginning would have said that I wrote Christian fiction. And then, then I write Lust, and people are like, oh, that's so urban. Victoria, that book was so urban. I'm like, oh, okay. I mean, whatever you want to call it, I just want to write a good story. That's all I want to write.
Absolutely.
And as readers, that's what we want, is to read a good story.
Absolutely. Now, we always talk about a goal moment here on Let's Chat. And a goal moment is when thought and execution come together. We're really mindful about how we speak to other people, how we treat other people, how they treat themselves. But when it comes to ourselves, we deal with a lot of lack. We're very timid in our movements. And I always say, your lane is just for you. You can go as fast as you want. You can go as slow as you want. But there's always that one little side street service driver section that's not really developed. And we always drive past it because it's gravel. And we're worried about our tires, or we're worried about what somebody's going to say or how somebody's going to feel. What was the goal moment like for you when you decided to pick up your pen and write for the first time?
Well, I didn't even know what it was because I was only 7 the very first time I picked up a pen to write. I knew I wanted to be a writer when I was born. I knew it. I came out of my mother's womb loving reading, loving writing. That's the only thing in my life that I've ever totally loved. I had another career before this, but I have always loved to read, and I got it from my father. I met some of his high school friends not too long ago, and they were saying things like, Edwin always had a book in his hand. I never saw him without it. And that's how I am to this day. I am always with a book. And I think what happens is that a love of reading turned into that love to write.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the 2nd grade when I wrote a play. It was called Betty and the Witch, and it was about, and I always tell people that it really was a masterpiece because that was the first thing that got me going. And people say, how can you be 7 and write a masterpiece? But you can if you plagiarize, because I plagiarized everything I knew at 7. I wrote about this little girl who wore a school uniform, and it was a red thing with a hood. And then she had 3 pigs for brothers, 3 bears for sisters. Next door, 7 little people lived right next door. And it was called Betty and the Witch. And I wrote it. I remember writing it. And I remember giving it to my teacher. And then she's speaking to my parents. And the entire 2nd grade ended up performing it as a play.
Wow.
Wow.
The teacher validated. I didn't know that's what was happening, but she validated my gift. I don't remember a lot about the play, but I remember her telling me that I could have any role I wanted since I wrote the play. And I was like, I'm more important than the rest of the kids. That's what I'm thinking. There's a lot of power in being so I'll never forget that when she said, you get to be whichever one you want.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's powerful.
And think about that at 7 years old. So she validated my gift and empowered me, to do that. So I'm telling you, that was a changing moment in my life. That was a moment in my life where something changed and switched for me. The thing is that as I was growing up, I didn't know a lot about how to be an author or anything like that. And although my parents encouraged me in my gift, they truly encouraged me to go get a job. They encouraged me in college to do something you wanted. Then my parents told me, go to grad school. I got my MBA, and then I got a job. But it still took a few years, but my husband was the one who encouraged me to be the writer.
Wow. Victoria, you say you came out of the womb with a love for reading. Do you know if your mom or dad read to you during your mom's pregnancy?
Well, I don't know if I'm you know what? I wouldn't be surprised if they did. That's a good question. But when I was growing as a little kid, they read to us constantly. We constantly had books. I remember getting my library card and thinking it was the best thing ever. I was like 6 or 7 years old.
Right.
And then my mother took us to the library every week. You could only take out 2 books at a time back in those days. And I was determined to read every book in the children's section. I kind of went through and I started in A and just read every single book. And I don't think I ever finished, because by that point I would have been 18 years old. But I remember being very methodical about it. And then again, we could only take out 2 books a week. And so that's when I started writing my own books. And because when I got home, I'd be finished with my books by Tuesday or Wednesday. And so I started writing my own book so I'd have something to read. And my sister, who was 2 years younger than me, I remember her telling me, and she still remembers the story. She told me, that's stupid. You're like, then you're going to know the ending. And I was thinking, I was like, that's a good point. But she didn't. I did not let my sister destroy my dreams.
Well, I'm glad that didn't get destroyed.
Exactly. She's still the same way. Because I used to say, I'm going to write my own books, because we don't have enough books to read because you can only take out 2. And she's like, you're going to write your own? That is so stupid. You're going to know the ending.
That's funny. That's funny. I think it's something. I think it's some connection because I started off young reading because my mom read. You kind of do what you see.
Parents, yeah.
And I always, to this day, I have a library card, Victoria. I love going to the library. And I'm here in New York. And we used to have a thing called the Bookmobile.
Yeah.
It was a truck that came through the neighborhood.
Yep.
I was always online to get into the bookmobile. I love the bookmobile.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know what that is, Leash, but it's like a rolling library.
Well, yeah, it's a rolling library. But it's really interesting because I do think some of this is your DNA, though. Because
I do too.
I really do. My mom loved to read too, but my dad was like me. Like, I can't get enough of reading.
Right.
The only reason I stop reading is when I'm writing or, I got other work to do. But I will go, like today I went to on the treadmill twice because I'm reading this book and I'm like, I gotta get through this book because I love this book. I can't get enough of reading.
I take a book with me everywhere. Everywhere I go, I have a book.
And that's how I used to be. And I'm in my office now and I have loads and loads of books, but now I have to confess, I do read digitally. And so I always have it with me on my phone. And people say you read on your phone, but you should see how clear the books are on your phone. So whether I'm standing in a grocery store line or in the bank or anywhere, I read constantly.
Me too.
Don't feel bad. I listen to books. Tony drives Tony crazy. I pick her up from the airport and it's a book just playing like it's playing.
Well, what I do is I buy from Audible and the Kindle, and they sync. And the reason I do that is that if I'm outside walking, I will listen to the book for an hour, and then when I come in, I make sure I read.
Absolutely.
So every book I spend more money now because I do both.
Right.
Absolutely.
Like if Lissha picks me up from the airport, I get in the car, I'm in the middle of a book, and I'm like, I can't not listen to it because she's listening. I'm like, okay, now I know what's gonna happen.
I know, right? How do you not listen to it?
Well, and then this is the thing. Some authors, I'll be like, I'm listening to your book, and they're like, how? It's on Kindle. Well, because Amazon through Alexa, she will read the book to you. So I listen to my books through Alexa app, and that's how I'm allowed to listen to my Kindle.
But then the voice is just like monotone, right?
Well, you know what I've learned though, yeah, I'm such a geek, but I learned to listen to the author's pen. And that's how I listen to their pen style. Because if it sounds awkward, then I'm like, eh. But if it's written really well, like Nika Michelle is an author that the Forbidden Fruit series that I can listen to, and it sounds just like an audiobook because the author has put so much character and action and emotion into the word that it jumps off the page and it comes off just like the audio.
Lissha, you have just saved my life because there have been books that I've wanted to read. I mean, to listen. Well, I've wanted to read, but if a book doesn't have the audio and the Kindle, I don't do it because I walk outside so much, exercise, I have to have both. And you've just saved my life.
Alexa app is your friend.
Oh my goodness. As soon as we are done, I'm picking up this phone and I have a book on here that I haven't read. And you're right. I forgot. And I knew they used to have it. So that's such a good idea. And listen to the author's pen. And if the author's putting enough emotion and everything in the words and in the action, it'll come through no matter who's reading it.
Right. And if I'm proofreading, then I'm listening to a manuscript. Or if somebody sends me a manuscript, I'm listening to it. One, because sometimes when we are reading and when we are writing, our eyes will autocorrect whatever it is we're looking at. But when we're listening to it like a read along, and you're like, wait a minute, that don't even sound right. So then you take your eyes and you go back and you're like, no, that's not right.
Yeah. That's when I was teaching writing courses, I always told people they had to read their manuscripts out loud because your eyes will autocorrect all the time.
Exactly. And that's one of the tips that I give when I'm editing. that I took from your classes that you won't let me back in.
Right.
Well, I'm not letting you
voted us out, and she told us no.
Most of y'all will just sit in the class, but I appreciate that because you're like you can't learn enough. That's how I am. I still take writing classes, but I haven't taught a writing class in a while though. So I haven't.
So you see, Lisa and I, when you open up the doors, we got to be right there. Knock, knock, knock. We here.
When she put us out, I was like, so what are we going to do now?
I'm like, wait, are you on?
Y'all had taken 2 already. And I think, Tony, you took like 3.
I thought it was just 1.
No, you didn't. I know that I am getting up there in age, but I do remember.
You're right. I know.
I think it may have been more than 3. But and Lissha, I know you took 2, but I appreciate y'all was starting to learn it enough that you could teach me.
She told me, she was like, I can't teach you anymore. You need to go write.
She told me I am not taking your money because you don't need me. I'm like, I always need you, Victoria.
No, you don't, because I've sent some projects your way and people have been very pleased. So
really,
yeah,
I was honored that you put me onto that project. So thank you so much.
I tell everybody, Tony got that hardcore red pen. Listen, remember you was at elementary school, you had all of your snacks lined up. You just knew you was doing your thing with your Oreos and your little chips. And then you wrote that paper and turned it in. Your chest was out. You was excited. You got it back 7 days later. You was like, I don't know what happened. All the rest, but she does it in love. She does it in love.
Because I had it just as heavily, And the thing is that you paid me to help you put out the best book possible. So and I say a lot of edits is not the sign of a bad writer. A lot of edits is the sign of a great editor. Because a great editor should be able to take a good book and make it great. Take a great book and make it amazing. Take an amazing book and make it a fantastic book. A great editor should be able to take whatever level the book is at, take it up a notch. So not the sign of a bad writer, it's the sign of a great editor.
Absolutely. And she does it in love. She taps that vein. You might think that by the time you turn it in, you're tired of looking at the book and the book is tired of looking at you, but she's going to take that vein. She's going to tap in and be like, no, I see 2 lines right here. I can get some blood up out of there. I need you to do this, that, and I need you to do this, do that.
She can get some blood out of that.
But Victoria, you are constantly in my ear when I'm working, when I'm editing. So to this day, you are in my ear, and I want to thank you for the jewels that you have deposited into me.
Well, everybody always says they hear my voice. They're like, I can't do it because I hear your voice in my head.
It's true.
Y'all use exclamation points. Y'all are like, nah, I can't do it. Victoria's going to charge me.
And I think of that too.
I think people say that. They're like, I can't, because if she sees it, she's going to charge me.
And no cliches. No cliches.
Victoria's going to charge me.
Now you inspire so many. You inspire so many people. And a Black woman that can write is a powerful woman. How does that feel to you? Because you inspire and you empower not just the readers that follow you, but authors all over the world.
Wow, I didn't know I did that.
Yes, you do.
I don't think about it that way. I do want to help as many people as I can because I think our legacy is not just writing. Our legacy is what we're going to leave behind and who we're going to leave behind. And so that's important to me, that anyone I can help a little bit along the way. And, so many people helped me. So it's not even something that I have to think too much about. I think about how Elin Harris helped me. And Eric Jerome Dickey taught me how to write. You know, I know Kim Roby helped me so much. Lolita Fauci, people who didn't even think about it helped me. And so all I could do is take what they deposited in me.
That's right.
Do a withdrawal and deposit it into someone else.
Absolutely. Now, as an author and a publisher, you know, a lot of times, and I've noticed this just being in connection with newer authors, that a lot of times they're looking for somebody to tell them they are great. You absolutely don't have to. But the flip side to that is a lot of them want to get signed to majors. And technically, when you are submitting your book, you're waiting for them to tell you that you're great for them and for their company.
Yeah.
For you, what would be 5 jewels you would drop on a new author that was pursuing writing career, or even an author that was pursuing trying to get themselves to a mainstream publisher?
That's a good question. The first thing I always say is writers read and writers write. You know, when somebody sends me a manuscript to edit, I can always tell whether or not they're a reader. Can always tell.
And
I find it a little bit insulting that you want someone to pay to read your book, but you're not going to read someone else's book. And so reading, I think, is so important. This is something Eric again taught me. It's so important because not only does it entertain you, but it teaches you. When you read, you get motivated. Sometimes if I get into a little bit of I don't feel like reading, writing, all I have to do is go read the book I'm reading at that point for like 2 minutes. And it motivates you right back, puts me right back in this chair where I can do some more writing. So writers read. The second thing I do say is writers write. You cannot call yourself a writer and you don't write. Teachers don't call themselves teachers unless they're teaching.
Right.
You know, a doctor doesn't call himself a doctor unless he's out there doing something to make people well. And so you have to do the same thing as a writer. And so that to me means that you have to write every day. Now, the quality nor the quantity of what you write matters. It's just exercising that muscle every day. And then for somebody who is trying, and you know, people are at different levels and they're at different points in their career, and so I don't know what I would tell people depends on where they are. But one of the things that I always tell people is that for my whole life, I wanted to be a writer. I've told you guys that, but I didn't write my first book until I was 42 years old. And that's because I had a resistance to writing. I had such a resistance. Life was getting in the way. I'm married, my job, was a little girl. So I allowed life to get in the way, and we all do that. And one day my husband said to me, if you don't write, you're going to be 80 years old one day. And you're going to be rocking on someone's rocking chair, on someone's porch, and you're going to be sorry that the one thing you wanted to do your whole life, you're going to look back and say, man, I didn't even do that. And that scared me. And so I had a resistance to writing, and my desire to write was down here. But then when Ray said that to me, my desire became higher than my resistance.
Okay.
And anybody who wants to do this or anything in life, there's only 2 things: your desire, and then all those things that are resisting, that are making you resist. You have to find the thing that's going to make your desire become higher than your resistance.
That's right.
And then I think another thing I would tell people is to find a good accountability partner. Not a friend who's going to say, "Oh, this is nice. Oh, this is good."
Yeah.
You need a friend who's going to say to you, "What are you thinking?
Right.
It does not work."
Exactly.
You need a friend who's going to say to you, "Have you written today? Have you written? Have you?" Just somebody who's going to get on your nerves.
Yes.
And when I first started, it was people who were ahead of me. It was people like Lolita Files and Kim Roby who just encouraged me to keep doing that. You know what I mean? So find an accountability partner. And then I think maybe the last thing is find someone to follow. And not someone to be your mentor and to teach you everything. That person for me probably was Eric Jerome Dickey. And when I say find someone to follow, not only we were friends, so it was easier, but I did not want to abuse our friendship. You know, we were friends. So
you don't want to take advantage.
It wasn't always about work. I didn't want it to always be about work for us. But I followed him. And what I mean by that is I read what he read. I listened. When he was saying he was taking writing classes, I started taking writing classes. You know, he was telling me, okay, take this at UCLA. And we were taking all these writing classes. Whatever he was doing and the thing, I found someone who was good that I could follow. Again, not mentor, because that means that then he would have had to take his time out of his day. But I made an attempt to learn from him rather than depending on him to teach me.
That's right.
People will call somebody up and say, "Well, can you give me all the advice that I want?" You know, and I will do that, but you're pulling from me. And so I have to stop what I'm doing to do this. I never wanted to do that with Eric. I wanted to kind of follow behind him and model and learn from him.
That's right.
That's powerful. Now, Victoria, you do so much. You know, you write, you have your screenplays, you do your Lifetime, you walk, you treadmill. What does Victoria do to detox from the literary world?
That's so interesting because I don't think I ever do because I love to read. So that is my winding down time. You know what I mean? Just reading is my winding. So that's always been part of the literary world. I'll hang out with friends, but I always got a book in Uber. I'm going to be reading the book. So that's my passion. So I don't have to detox away from it.
Okay.
Because I'll always be at least reading, and I love to write as much as I love to read. But what I need to do is to detox from people sometimes, and find my own space, and focus on me for a minute. But that's what you have to do.
Absolutely. And you know, we talk to a lot of different authors on different levels, and I always tell authors, when you're going to go into this industry, there's nobody that's really going to be able to tell you. Don't look for somebody to hold your hand. You watch those people around you. How do they interact on their social media? When I have to describe to somebody how to interact, I always send them to your social media. I always send them to your social media. And I was like, watch how they interact. And when you go to book events, watch how they move around. Because you need to learn. But you got to see it. You got to know what it looks like. And you got to know how to mix and mingle. And I always say, it's kind of like being on a campaign trail. You kissing babies and shaking hands.
You kissing babies, girl.
Kissing babies and shaking hands. And that's what you have to do, but you want to know the way in which to do it. And take what works for you and get rid of the rest.
And give to the rest, right? When I say follow somebody, I don't mean for you to mimic them, but glean all the good stuff that works for you, because not everything is going to work for you.
That's right.
but always take the good and throw away the rest.
Absolutely.
So true.
Now,
and I want to say,
go ahead.
I'm sorry, Leash. Because you do your classes, you've been successful with books, and people do follow you. But it's also good to read a good author. Because there are elements that make a great story.
That's right.
And those elements are important. Can you just share just a few tips on the importance of your character development, your dialogue and narrative? Because all of those are components that make a great book. And sometimes you can have like 5 chapters before you even get to dialogue. And I don't think that's very good.
That's not the way it's supposed to be. Yeah. I start with a what if question. What if a woman is engaged to a pastor, and she finds out, and they've been celibate, and the night before their wedding, she discovers she's pregnant. I start out with something like that. So I start out with the simple sentence, what if? And then I develop the characters to tell that story. And I will spend at least a month thinking about just the characters. Not writing too much, but writing, she has a sister, and her sister's her only friend. And then I talk about why. And then I'll talk over stuff like that. Before I even start writing the story, my accountability partner is Rashonda. And so we'll talk through story ideas and things like that, just with the characters. Because I think the best books that people remember are books where they remember the characters.
That's
don't remember a character-driven book is way more memorable than a plot-driven book. So then before I write the first line, I will spend as much time as I can on the character. And it's very interesting because, like you said, it's not till 5 pages that dialogue appears. And the reason that doesn't work is because there's only 2 things you can have in a book. You can only have dialogue and narrative. That's what a book is. And so this is the major thing people have to remember. Dialogue helps the reader to hear. Narrative helps the reader to see. And so if you're just doing something where they can only see stuff and they can't hear nothing, that's not a balanced story.
No.
And if they can only hear and you're not helping them to see, that's not a balanced story. So if a writer would remember that, dialogue allows the reader to hear, narrative allows the reader to see. When someone knows that, then they have a better idea of how a book should be balanced.
That's right. That's a good point too. Y'all got y'all pens and pencils out. Did y'all see that note? That was a jewel. That was a jewel right there.
That's
she
right.
drops them often. T and I so appreciate you always coming to kick it with us here in the chat room. We appreciate you. We are again so proud of you. We are your supporters. We are your readers.
Your cheerleaders.
We are your students. We appreciate you.
I'm not gonna let y'all not my students no more. You can't come to no more classes. Classes for the rest of your life.
So that butter up wasn't good. At least you didn't put enough.
And people may think that you're kidding. I didn't let you go back in.
She didn't let us back in.
Only now. I don't want people to think it wasn't because they only had one class. No. These ladies sat in one class. They sat in the next class. And if I had kept teaching, they would have been in every class. And I appreciate that because not only do I try to teach, but I made it fun. And so people would come to the class and just have a good old time while they were learning too. So people think y'all are kidding. I was like, I can't teach them no more. They need to go write and they need to edit. Lissha needed to go write and Toni needed to go edit somebody.
Listen, let me tell y'all, I moved to Georgia in 2017 and I did my first book event. Which is now called Vision and Books, but it was my eat and greet. That was my very first event. And Rashonda and Victoria did because I always like to have the education portion attached to the event. So we did a writer's workshop and they came down and they did their workshop. And I remember, I don't know what we were talking about, and I said something about getting a job, and she just looked at me. She was like, what? She was like, do not go to work. She was like, you don't need to.
You're right. We had so much fun because that was the very first paint and sip I had ever done in my life.
It was fun.
And I still have my picture like right over there. It's
Me
right
too.
Yes. And three or four authors came out of that session that you and Rashonda did.
Wow.
3 or 4 authors. And and it's very awesome. It's an awesome feeling just to be able to kind of be a bridge for people to have that experience. Next year it's going to be the third one, and I want to do like mini workshops, but I know a lot of authors want to put their books into movies. And so I want to see if I can do like a mini workshop where they can get that, a workshop on grants, grant writing, and authors to understand that there are grants out there that you can tap into. You just got to know how to get that. And I want to be able to just kind of put love on people a little bit in their visions and their intentions. So next year we are not having a paint and sip. Well, we are. It's something I want to do with nonprofits, but we're going to do vision boards.
Ah, that's good. That's really good.
Yes, because when I did a vision board, I want to say in 2017, I put Miss Kimberla on there. She's one of my bucket list interviewers. And that's where she was on my board. And like 2 years later, I've interviewed her twice. I've interviewed her for a magazine.
Call her and get her to interview with you.
I could ask her or anything. And I'm like, that is so awesome. Not just to know what your vision is, but to see it.
To see it. My dad used to say, if you measure it, you can succeed at it.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to be able to measure it and see it.
Right.
Wow.
So we do like to do something fun. Of course, you've been on our show many times. We still do it. Okay. So T is going to give you a fun question. I don't know what she's going to ask. That's all Tony.
Well, Victoria, like Lissha said, we so enjoy when you come visit us, and we will always be there to support you in whatever you do. And we thank you. But Lissha and I, we have a Let's Chat garden, and we actually had to go out and get a little bit more real estate because it's growing. And we want you to deposit into our garden tonight either a flower, a tree, a shrub, a brush, a fence, some sunlight. But we want you to deposit a seed into our Let's Chat garden that will reflect Victoria Christopher Murray.
So like when you say a garden, you mean something that you could really plant?
We have a virtual
garden. And so each guest adds to that garden. They add their favorite flower, they add their favorite tree, and they tell why it's their favorite. So we expanded that because a garden is more than just flowers and trees. Some people might want to put a bench in there. Some people might want to put a fence up. They might want to add more sunlight. And so we want to know, what will Victoria add?
Well, it's really interesting because when you first said this, I was going to put in there a bird of paradise. Just because I just think they're so regal and they're just so beautiful.
Gorgeous, yes.
But then when you expanded, and said you could put anything in there, I want to put a bench.
Oh, okay.
With a placard, I guess that's over it. And I want the placard to say, "For I know the plans that I have for you, saith the Lord. Plans to prosper you and not to harm you. Plans to give you hope and a future." And that's Jeremiah 29:11. And I just think, especially with people who do what we do, this is hard.
Yeah.
This is hard on so many levels because it's not a regular job. So we're not getting paid a regular paycheck. It's not something, we put our heart and soul in it, and then it comes from our soul, and then we put it out, and people call our baby ugly because they didn't like the story and they didn't know. But when you're a teacher, nobody gets to come into your classroom and critique you, but people critique everything we do. And I just want people to know that if this is a gift that God gave you, stay with your gift. And I think if they could just sit in that garden, and sometimes before they go do anything, just sit on that bench and look up at that placard, Jeremiah 29:11, and just even those first words, for I know the plans I have for you, saith the Lord.
Oh, that our garden is getting better and better, Leash. That was a great deposit, Victoria. Thank you so much for that.
Yes, and make the bench red because I'm a Delta, so I want the bench to be red.
Of course.
And it's now going to be called our legacy garden.
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
That's a great one. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was a great question. That was great.
Thank you. We try here on Let's Talk.
Yes, we do. We so appreciate you. We want you to shout out all of your social media, your movies, any websites, and any new releases that we should be looking out for.
Okay, so on social media, you can find me everywhere under Victoria Christopher Murray. I don't just talk about books, so you better come prepared because if I wasn't writing, I'd be a congressman someplace right now
Yes, you would.
I'd be straightening out these Republicans.
Listen.
I'm already straightening them out.
We need that.
Man, how y'all gonna get rid of Liz and then y'all got the dude on there that's going around with the child pornography? I don't understand it. I don't understand what they got going on.
Where they are right now, but anybody who knows me knows that I talk about politics as much as I talk about prose.
Yes, that's true.
And a little bit of pop culture too. So, although my Twitter account has been kind of silent because I don't have nobody to harass on there. I don't troll. There ain't nobody to troll, so I don't have a lot to say.
Listen, I stopped watching CNN. I just wait for Victoria and Rashonda to tell me what happened because it's better commentary. It's better. Y'all should put samples of your lives on TikTok.
Oh, okay, that's a good idea. Okay, so we'll do that. I'll talk to Rashonda about that. So on social media, you can find me everywhere. Yes, you could still see Lust and Envy on demand on Lifetime. I also understand that it was on Amazon Prime as well. People pick up there. So just go look for Lust and Envy. And before the next ones come out, you gotta go read Greed and Wrath. Wrath is my favorite of the 4 that I've written so far.
Really?
It took me such a long time to write it. For me to get that right. But if I had to list my top favorite books, my top 5 favorite books, Wrath is right up there.
Wow.
Right up there. And then on June 29th, I have an amazing book coming out. And even I get to say that. I wrote a book with a white author.
Oh, and yes.
Yes, she actually sent a proposal to my agent and asked to write a book with me after she read Stand Your Ground. And so when she sent the proposal, it was single spaced, it was 2 pages, and it started off with about this woman who worked for JP Morgan. And I just was bored, right? I couldn't get past the first paragraph. And my agent kept calling me and saying, have you read it? And I was like, no, I'm busy. Have you read it? And then 3 months passed. And my agent said, look, you can't be that busy. It's 2 pages. But it was just boring. And then she talked about this woman who helped JP Morgan build his library and his manuscript collection, his art collection. And she became one of the most powerful women in the early 20th century. So think about that, 1905, 1906. She became this, before women could vote, she became this powerful woman. And I was still bored reading it. And the last sentence said, no one knew until she died that she was African American. She was passing for white.
Wow.
And so this is a real woman. Her name is Belle DaCosta Green, and she was the personal librarian to J.P. Morgan. But what we did, and what Marie Benedict, the author I wrote it with, what she does is she takes real women from history and she writes fictional biographies on them. So, you know, we make it, we take what we know and then we fill in the rest. And it was such an amazing, amazing project. Because I got a chance to work with someone who doesn't look like me. We got a chance to write. I give her a lot of praise for knowing she shouldn't write that book alone. Because she didn't know anything about passing. Like, one of the things that she didn't know was, she was saying, you know, Belle would be really scared of being found out. And I was like, yeah, but she wasn't scared of white people. She was scared of a black person finding out. White people don't know black people, but black people know black people.
Right.
And so every time when she walked out her door, Belle knew that a black person could call her out. She wasn't white people. And so that surprised Marie when I was writing that with her. And so I'm with Random House, one of their imprints, Berkeley, and we've been pushing this book. So I think you're going to see some big things happen with it.
I'm excited.
That comes out June 29th, and I'm very, very excited. It's a historical fiction. Oh, and look her up. Her name is Belle DaCosta Green. But here's what's so interesting. Her father was the first black man to graduate from Harvard. But he and his wife, Richard T. Greener. So a lot of black people know about, you know, the first man to graduate from Harvard. But he and his wife separated. They never divorced because after the Civil Rights Act was overturned in 1875 by the Supreme Court, his wife, who had been an activist, said, I'm out. She's like, we got this light skin. We tried to make black people equal. It's not going to work. And he refused. He kept working with he kept working with everyone. And so that's an interesting part of history, and it's a part of our history.
Right.
So I'm so excited for people to read this book.
Well, we're excited, and we'll
I smell another movie.
And also, always, Victoria, when you put something out, please tag us so we can share it with our audience, you know, and that just gets more eyes on it. So
I will. Yeah, Lissha comes to my page and just be sharing everything.
I'll be sharing everything. I don't even know what she's talking about. I'll be sharing it.
Me too. If her name is on it, we sharing it.
It could be old. It could be old. She's like, what are you shooting?
I would say, like, Trump needs to be fired. She coming.
We share it.
Yeah. But I love this. I love that you're doing this live now.
Yes, we do. We've expanded, and I appreciate Toni because I'm always coming up with stuff. And she's like, okay, all right. You want me to do what now? And she always says I'm giving homework. I'm always giving homework. But, you know, I always think that, you know, we have the Let's Chat Sports. We have Let's Chat Live. We still do Let's Chat Radio. We try to keep the radio show free because a lot of times when there's new authors, they don't have the funds to be able to put out because people, you know, writing the book is great, and that's probably the easiest part. But being an author is very expensive. So sometimes when you don't have that to be able to kind of get yourself out there, because when you don't have a fan base, your why for what you're doing becomes what draws people into you. And we want people to be able to experience that. We've just started our mini show on Clubhouse. So we just He is just letting me do whatever I want.
When is a Clubhouse show on? I have to come in there.
Yeah, so we're having another one June 24th. We might have to have 2 in June because a lot of authors want to be moderators now that Android has been able to get on Clubhouse.
Yes.
So we might have to have 2 shows, but we really are going to be talking about the essence of an author's pen. Okay. And just being able to have authors just to come on there and just promote yourself, talk about yourself. We can get so many different people. We can get 1,000 people in one room to hear about you, to go to your Instagram, to go to your Twitter. And so why not do it?
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't have the platform that Lissha and I have.
Yes.
So that's another, avenue that especially new authors can take.
Right.
Use our platform because we are listened to worldwide, literally worldwide.
Wow, I'm so proud of you. You guys said you're proud. I'm so proud of you because you're consistent. And that's the most important thing. And you keep giving to authors. That's you keep on giving. You're the gift that just keeps on giving. So I'm really proud of that.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
That means a lot.
Thank you. And that's active service. We're both givers. So active service to me is very important. Even
that's your love language.
It is my love language. So when I do vision and books, it's every shade of me. I love literature, so I have 12 featured authors. I love to shop, so I have vendors. I sell paparazzi. I have my own paparazzi table. I'll have books. I'll have books on by next year's event when it comes. And then I like to give back. So we adopt a classroom and ask the teacher, what is it that you need?
Yeah.
What is it that you need so you don't have to send that list home? Because a lot of people don't know that list they send you, and by us coming off of COVID, we don't know what the list is going to be when school starts.
Yeah.
And a lot of parents don't know that's a re-up offer. They need that at least 3 or 4 times a year, and that's stressful for parents already. This, I need this folder, pencils, crayons, and I got to bring a whole bunch for other people's kids. So, let's
my way of giving back.
Yeah, let's give the teachers what they need so that they can be secure and stress-free and give the kids.
And just teach.
That is, they could just teach.
Just teach. So.
We so appreciate you, Victoria. You're welcome back anytime. We'll tag you. We're probably going to have 2 shows. I think June is probably going to be our Clubhouse shows. Because I think Toni will be giving me the side eye. If I tell her we got radio shows, we got lives, and now we got to be on Clubhouse.
On top of me trying to edit, Victoria.
Yep.
And Toni is a great editor, but y'all listen, she literally reads every book, and I don't mean just read. She prints that thing out. So if she's editing 4 books at a time, I have to be mindful of that, and allow her to have that time in her case.
And there's only 3 people I would recommend in the country. There's only 3 people I would recommend as editors, and Toni's one of them.
Yeah, she's the only one I had to recommend. Anybody else for an editor? I'm like, you got contact her.
Other people are not really editing.
That's right.
Well, I thank you for that, Victoria. Oh, and Stephen is having his book release on Sunday.
Yeah, so I'm going to be the moderator for that. So.
I'm going to be there.
Where are we going? I want to go.
It's the book that Toni, a project that I worked on, and Toni did the editing.
I was so excited and nervous. When you sent it to me, Victoria, I'm like, Leash, Victoria sent me something to edit.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, oh no. She said,
she was excited. I was like, yes. I tell Toni, this time next year, I don't know what your boss is going to do.
Yeah.
And I love him. I always say Toni's job is G14 classified, but I'm just saying, I don't know what he's going to do because you're about to retire.
I know that's right. Well, that's higher. She's about to go into her own thing.
Yeah, just by her skill alone.
I thank you guys for that. But I'll be there on Sunday, Victoria.
And I'll see you on Sunday. And thank you, Lissha and Tony. Thank you always for supporting me. It really means a lot to me.
You are all so very welcome.
You know what? I didn't ask you. Did you guys see the movies? Did you enjoy them?
Of course.
Yeah, I watched them twice.
Me too. And I was there for the accessories, I must say, you know, especially in that first one. I saw the bracelets. I saw this. You know, I watched it all.
Yes.
Well, did you see some of Kerry Hilson's shoes now?
Yes.
Listen.
I think she had some David Yerman braces on. I think that was him.
I love my David Yerman.
I peeped it. I watched. I watched it all.
Loved it. Well, you know, you are welcome back anytime, Victoria. We appreciate you sharing your time, your space, your energy. Look out for Hardcore Grind, the Indie Post, and Heat Seekers, because I did do a magazine interview with her, and which you guys will be seeing soon. So I appreciate you for that too.
Okay, well, thank you, ladies. Have a great night.
You too. Stay safe.
Okay, bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Oh, that was great, T. I love Jess. I can listen and talk to Victoria all day.
All day, all night.
So awesome. Absolutely, y'all. Absolutely. We appreciate you guys coming to kick it with us here in Let's Chat Live. And I think that's what we're going to do. I don't know. Let me think about it. But I think we might do Clubhouse shows in June, because there was a lot of authors, and I don't want to be, I love Clubhouse, but I don't want to moderate for 8 hours. Them moderators be on there doing it. Like it's like a whole class. Listen, if you have not been on Clubhouse, you need to. And authors, I always tell everybody that I add to Clubhouse, don't go on there just looking for other authors. There are social media gurus. There are marketing gurus, Instagram gurus. Go in there and learn how to advance and push forward your brand.
Right. Absolutely. And make sure you follow us. Lissha's at Lissha, and I am at MzToni. So if you're on Clubhouse, look us up. Follow us. We follow back.
Absolutely. We appreciate you guys, and we will see you soon. Good night.
Good night.
This shit crazy, man. I had another dream the other day, man. Niggas try to kill me again. You know what I mean? People try to take me away from my family, you know what I mean? Upstate hustle. Yeah, I had another dream again. Niggas try to kill me again. Again. I had another dream the other day. People try to take me away. Had another dream again. Niggas try to kill me again. Had another dream the other day. People wanna slide my way. Had another dream again. Had another dream again. I think about it every day. Had another dream again. Had another dream again. Niggas try to kill me again. Had another dream the other day. Niggas try to take me away. I used to hustle out the house, now I trap with the whip. Had to keep my gun tight, cause these niggas is bitch. The nigga mad cause I fucked this shorty. But the nigga kinda mad cause he owed me a short. I seen niggas, they was lurking in the back of the back. I seen them right in the back. It was crazy, I ain't had my strap. And I know they had them a strap. We had to go right after the show. I seen them niggas, they was following me quick. They was right on my shit. Niggas still thought dumping it quick. Niggas sent 5 shots. Ain't hit nothing. The niggas frontin'. Then I start dumping it back. Then I split. I ain't seen that nigga since. One day I'm on the block, I'm chillin', smoking my weed. These niggas ride past grillin'. Now I see the light stop, seen the car pulled over. And now I see the passenger door open, niggas linked over. I knew it was lit. Niggas try to leave me dead on my dick. I gotta go home and grab my shit. Now I'm riding, now I'm thinking all night about that night we made that hit. We took that money